Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. I told you guys I've been missing in action for a little while, but let's get this show on the road. I want to make sure that everything is working properly. We're getting everything where it needs to be at in our production and making sure we present you guys professional quality shows and presentations. I wanted to start out on the right foot, so let's get the housekeeping out the way. We have our regular ground rules: no taking photographs, no screenshotting or screen recording, no trolling, no level of disrespect will be tolerated. Understand you will be blocked, muted, and reported and booted for repeat offensive behavior. No extreme foul language. If you're going to be in the chat, misspell your cuss words. And if you get to a point that you're being flagrant with it, you will be booted without any question or warning. You will get an instant and you're gone. I told you guys I'm all about the business and making sure everything is presented professionally and doing the best that I can with everything that's going on. So with that being said, let's make sure that I make those dreams come true. And as you guys can see, my favorite cup back there. So I want to make sure everything is good to go. All right. So we got the ground rules there. We have the live call-in number. You can call in. And the number's changed and everything else. And as I told you guys, I had a lot of people playing games and whatnot. So I just had to change the number. So that's the new call-in number. And also we have our regular text line number, 866-727-9323. Or if you're in Georgia, you can actually text 404-418-5104. And for any online bookings, you can go to dondivacoaching.com, imcc.com, or teamworld.online for children, adolescents, young adults. And email Cash App, Love Offerings, Talk Radio Diva is the actual Cash App. And also IMCC Coaching and Don Diva Coaching. You're more than welcome to do Teamworld online as well. And you can look them up. You'll see my branding. You'll know it's me. Or you can go to talkradiodiva.com and do your donation there. And like I said, if it's over $500, $600, let me know, and I'll split it up to the businesses you want to put there. If it's over $10,000, then I will give you the actual bank number and routing number for those type of transactions. Again, you have to let me know ahead of time, and we can facilitate that being done. So, with that being said, this is your host. I am CICI. So, I wanted to make sure that we got into the curriculum and the introduction and interview of what the particular subject matter is going to be this month, and for the next following couple of weeks and months, what we're going to be doing. And part of that is being able to give ourselves back to the communities and being able to each one reach one, teach one. And so good evening, good morning. If you're on the other side of the world, Grand Rising and Namaste to all. This is again, I am CICI, your talk radio host. And again, I've been giving myself time away from social media. It's been a good thing and also a little bit of a bad thing because things have happened, and the reason I've not been on, we've explained that in the other overview, so we're not going to go and have to re-explain certain things and whatnot. Also, there's several lining to all things. I've had a chance to regroup, practice my public speaking skills, and also I took time to regroup and just do me. So let's get into the content. Let me go ahead and get that brought up. I'm just going to take myself off the screen right quick, and we'll get that taken care of. All right, everybody, we're back. So again, it's like 93 degrees in here. Indoors heat index is like over like 97. So, I've been having a lot of problems with the power company, utility company. They've been janky ever since they've been taken over. But we know how that is, right? But positive thinking does not always come naturally. It's something that we have to learn. In fact, most of us have learned in our experiences, our hardships, our obstacles, or dealing with obnoxious, nasty people, or dealing with agents of saboteur and provocateur. I'm living around a bunch of those type of chaos agents and people who do street theater and do a lot of things that are just obnoxious and illegal, hateful, diabolical, deliberate, and harmful. I'm dealing with that also in business. And you're doing something right when they won't leave you alone. So with that being said, I've learned a lot in business, and having to deal with a lot of saboteur, provocateur along the way. I've learned that you got to be doing something right if everybody's trying to dogpile on you and do everything they possibly can to irritate, aggravate, and sabotage. So the first thing that probably pops into our head when things are going on and whatnot is like, really? Like, why? This sucks. So at that moment when life is just giving us lemons, we just got to make some lemonade, okay? So with that being said, whatever pops into our head, sometimes it gives us the critter brain. It gives us a level of feeling negative Nelly, negative Nancy, and feeling some type of way. It's kind of like dealing with obnoxious Alicia or dealing with obnoxious Clifford or obnoxious Tamika or several other individuals, obnoxious James, and obnoxious little nastiness that they like to keep up. And when you're dealing with childish saboteur, provocateur agents, it becomes the level of just like dealing with Victoria, Justin, or other people who like to be mentioned and whatnot. But I found that these walking demons have nothing else better to do. They're miserable, they're toxic, have broken lives, mental health, emotional health, and healthy people don't go around here saboteuring, bothering people, or irritating or aggravating. And healthy people don't do city, county-wide district torment, provoking bullying, and harassment and terrorism. So I learned, the long way that there's a lot of people who are just disrespectful and despicable. There's nothing we can do about it except for be bulletproof motivated. So when we think about these type of things, we have to learn to get away from it. We learn how to get away from unhealthy people. So I'm going to bring something up right quick for you guys to understand this and mindful and being present. This is something we've been doing in presentations and whatnot about mindfulness and being present and whatnot, especially when you're dealing with post-separation abuse or economic financial coercive control, or you're dealing with other obstacles or hardships or people who make your life miserable, especially if you're married to a toxic narc or a demon, or a walking predatorial, failed traction, fatal vows, fatally obsessed, cringe-worthy, psychotic, sadistic, tormenting, bullying person. And when you're getting ready to leave that person, they become lethal, hateful, diabolical, harmful, sadistic, or abusive. And when you're dealing with that type of person, you have to either jail them or put them in a mental health facility, or you have to go after them with every fiber of your soul and make it clear that you're done. And then you have to put them in jail, especially when they're crossing the line or approaching a level of criminality or legalities, or crossing the line to viciousness, cruelty, or high conflict in separation, especially when a person can't take no, or I want a divorce, or I want you to leave me alone, or if you don't stay off my property, I'll put you in prison. So I want you guys to understand this in the presentation. I want you guys to understand this as a life coach, wellness coach, and being a paraprofessional and a certified professional. It has been very hard to deal with. I want to make sure I share my world with my clients and potential clientele, that I am walking the talk, talking the talk, and letting you guys know I'm dealing with an obnoxious person. I'm dealing with someone who has enough resources to keep on being obnoxious the rest of his natural born days. But we're at that point that he's going to jail whether he likes it or not. We're at that point that his family's getting, and we're at that point everybody's getting sued in the city and county, and the city county-wide provoking and gaslighting enablement of his toxic behavior is at the point of federal RICO. We're at the point I will press charges, and I'll be glad to sit in prison, in jail, and while he's going to prison, I'll be making sure that he sits there underneath the jail over what he's done to me. And in the post-separation and obnoxious jokes at my expense, I made it abundantly clear to local law enforcement and also DCF and also other agencies, Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, and DEA, that I'm fed up with this obnoxious narcissistic antics. And I made it clear we're not going to be together. He doesn't seem to understand that. Ow! So I'm at that point that the city and county of Pensacola, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia will be federally civilly sued for allowing his terroristic behavior, and then the obnoxious pranks and jokes at my expense, and then the levels of post-separation abuse, and the obnoxious levels of provoking and gaslighting on social media, recruiting other people to play in my face or play with me in a manner that I don't like and I despise and loathe. And I made it clear 10 years ago that if I found out of this idea of a sick joke, that I would leave him and I would sue him and I would sue his family. And I meant what I said 10 years ago, and I mean it now. So with that being said, hopefully he'll be slapped the brakes off in court financially. Ow! Because I'm done. And I'm rather annoyed. It's more than annoyed, but I figured you guys would understand. And positive thinking, I had to get into mindfulness. So when we talk about all the different things that can happen that can make you feel negative or make you feel some type of way, dealing with a bully in a spouse or a partner or a fiance is the worst thing that you could ever deal with. And especially if you're a paraprofessional or a degree professional or have certifications and the person decides to take you for a joke. So I decided to take him for his wallet, his assets, his cars, everything he has, and anything that he has transferred in anybody else's bank accounts, having the IRS audit his accounts, foreign and domestic, and take everything from him. So he won't have any more resources to irritate me and piss me off. And if anybody's dealing with domestic violence or domestic abuse, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233. And here is the hotline number, and it's on the screen for you guys. Because when you're dealing with an obnoxious, sadistic, psychologically abusive, pathologically abusive, sadistic, game playing, annoying nuisance of a narc or a person who likes to sabotage and provoke and gaslight or play with signals and do all these things that he knows how to do, we're at the place of, if you don't get out of my life, I'm going to drag you out of there by the court orders and get a permanent restraining order for you, your mother, and your family, and your sisters and brothers, and everybody else involved, local, non-local, because I've had enough of this obnoxious antics. Also, the tearing up my house and playing games at my expense and doing all the economic financial damages is why I'm ready to sue the brakes off of him and make sure he has not one crumb. So I didn't start out in a negative way. I didn't start out being a negative person. Having an experience of a lifetime dealing with an obnoxious, wealthy, well-connected, has too many resources to abuse, provoke, piss someone off, or test their temperament and loyalty, and it's backfired spectacular in his face to the point that I want him criminally indicted, federally, civilly, criminally sued, city and county on his payroll, federally, civilly sued, and then I want all the restitution for my house to be fixed, and then everybody court ordered out of my life. And when a woman's fed up, there's nothing you can do about it. When a woman's completely nuclear upset and pissed, there's nothing you can do about it. And once you cross the line of tearing up a house that I built for my daughter, I will put you underneath the jail, and I will be standing on top of it with a key. So as a life coach and as a wellness coach, I've been dealing with hardships, but I learned how to be positive. I think that sometimes we think about what happened and we think about who's to blame for the things that have gone wrong. And sometimes we have to take accountability that we've invited people in our life not knowing their personal agenda, or they were planted in our life to destroy it. And I feel like I've dated Satan, Satan's sons, and Satan's disciples one by one. And strategically, each one was planted in my life with their own personal agenda. Again, those are the reasons why I take full accountability for dating them, but no accountability for their abusing, tormenting, gaslighting, embarrassment, and harassment, or taking this to industry. And yes, I am nuclear upset over that. So with that being said, there's a level of I don't want to be together. There's a level of if there's an engagement, the wedding's off, the engagement's off, and you will be civilly criminally sued. Your mother will be sued, and she will be homeless, and you will be homeless right along with her. There is a level of I don't want to be in the same house with someone that would prank, provoke me, or irritate me, or piss me off the way this man has. And when I say I'm nuclear pissed off, it means when a woman's calmly nuclear pissed off, there's not a darn thing you can do about it. There's not an apology, and there's not enough money to make me go back with you. There's not enough money to make me live with you, and there's not enough money for me to go to couples therapy and work things out with you, except for to bankrupt you and remove you from my life. That's where we're at. So when we talk about domestic violence, we're talking about post-separation abuse. We're talking about all the different things that alter our life, whether you're a degree professional or whether you finished high school or whether you dropped out of high school. It doesn't matter. This affects everybody. There is no perfect victim. Just one moment. I'll pull up some things so you guys can understand this. Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to go over a couple of different things. We did the levels of divorce therapy, and the divorce therapy was very important, and I enjoyed every bit of those presentations. We're going to do them online, and we'll redo them so you guys can understand all of the content that goes with that, and also being mindful and being present. We're going to stay positive, though, because a lot of these presentations are going to be about being positive and positive thinking no matter what you're going through, especially when you're dealing with hardship or an obnoxious, provoking, gaslighting, wealthy, well-connected billionaire or dirtbag, almost billionaire, or a bunch of toxic people who need to be court ordered out of my life, born and domestic. So, just a moment, you guys. I wanted to make sure that I'm comfortable because I have an aunt who got in my house, pranked me, provoked me, and rigged my bed, and she's going to a federal penitentiary where she belongs, and I'll be pressing the charges because she's part of the vandalism and she's connected to the same obnoxious individuals. I'll be asking for a federal indictment for her arrest, and I want it done ASAP. I don't like her, and she knows it. She's been told so, and my baby's father knows her, and I don't like them either. So when we talk about handling a bullying partner or bullying family members or bullying coworkers or a situation where you're in a toxic environment or a district county-wide level of provoke and gaslight or torment on behalf of Wealthy Love Connected, which is what my situation is. And it will be civil indictments, criminal indictments, and federal indictments. And the city county mayor will be getting arrested. City district managers will be getting arrest warrants for allowing it to go on so long because I addressed it to all mayors and all police officers and law enforcement, which my ex has worked for. I'll be asking for the indictments for all the officers who's kept up their antics and buffoonery and the IT tampering and provoking gaslight. It's been told to me, and they've been told on because people who quit and got fired snitched on them. So I'm aware of all the people who are on payroll with my exes, and I want criminal indictments for all officers involved. That means the city and county police as well. I've had enough of my ex and his connections to Atlanta PD as well. And I know who else connected to that situation. So at this point, I want a federal indictment for all of them and all parties that were involved. I have nothing against the police. I just don't like being played with. And when a person tells me that police and city and county on payroll, it has become a level of he needs to be court ordered out of my life and criminal indictments on all parties. And no matter how much money you have, it doesn't give you the right to torment someone or irritate someone or piss someone off the way that they have pissed me off and affected my health. And also when federal agencies and also doctors were told and lawyers were called and they kept this mess up and kept on playing these nasty narcissistic games to the point that I will be asking for the indictments and I'll be asking for the criminal restraining orders and the lawsuits against the city and county and the tearing up of my AC unit and the tearing up of my roof is another reason why my roof caved in and almost hit me in my head. I consider cleared to the ceiling. It's rained in my house multiple times, and I want the federal warrants for all of that. And GE, Georgia Power Southern Company, will be getting lawsuits for installing a computer chip into that terminal and whatnot that caused all of these issues and whatnot with the thermostat. I want the federal indictments for all the torment, torture, and battery that my aunt put unleashed on me, and then other individuals, foreign and domestic, who had access to this house unlawfully, legally at the locksmith. So when I tell you I've been through hardship, I had to be mindful and be present. I want you guys to understand positive thinking. And the instinct is to sometimes complain about things, but I've learned not to complain because it doesn't help the situation. I told you guys I don't want to have to rehash situations, but I want to give you guys a quick overview and understanding. So as we get into the content and the next presentations, that our positive thinking is in ascension and expanding and elevating luminosity and becoming more illuminated, abundant, advanced, unified, and learning how to get past all that kind of stuff. Because rumination does happen, okay? Rumination can happen at any point in time, especially with trauma and PTSD. I want you guys to understand that when I got sabotaged to sound like Betty Broderick snapping and going off on people while they were sabotaging, catfishing me on social media, it became a level. They've done this for 3 and 5 years. They've done this overlapping for 10 years, multi-platform. It's at the point of criminal civil indictments for harassment, terrorism, and using platforms in the manner of abusing, terrorizing, tormenting, bullying, and harassing other people who observed it. It's at the point that I'm ready to go to court, testify, and do what I need to do to get my life back and go on about my business, because they have alternatively affected my life and the outcome of my life. And no, I'm not going to stay in a relationship with someone who decided they thought it was funny to use me as a pawn in their sadistic, abusing, provoking, gaslighting, and risk to my reputation, my safety, and my child's well-being, as well as my family's well-being. And when it resorted to levels of death threats, provoking, and gaslighting, and we guys see me cutting up on social media while they're sitting up here laughing about all the saboteur, provocateur, while stealing content and distributing it to other people who had no business having my content, which I paid for. So there's a level of we're not going to work anything out because it's gone way too far. Sorry, you guys, my hair is on my neck. And when you have to deal with obnoxious antics and buffoonery and GE, Georgia Power Southern Company, and having to deal with the asbestos sitting up here, and when the actual roofer says they didn't install the shingles correctly anyway in the first place, but then getting on top of my house when shingles are nailed to the actual foundation of the house, and they sat there and ripped them off over years and years and caused all these leaks in the house. I want the federal indictments, and Habitat for Humanity will be sued because they were told what was going on and nothing was stopped. And I want you guys to understand why I will be separating from an obnoxious, faulty, well-connected, nasty person who thought this was funny to do. You don't play with my house that I built for my daughter, and you don't play with me in that manner, and you don't play sadistic games and have me looking like a fool on social media. You don't have me sounding like Betty Broderick at my breaking point and saying things that I don't normally say, and you don't sabotage someone in that manner. So in all of that, you know, I've learned that a lot of things went wrong, but I've learned how to accept the unacceptable and move on, do the best I can. And as I told you guys, I'm not going to keep going over this because they've done everything to mess with signals. And Cox Cable, AT&T will be civilly criminally sued. They were told what was going on from the get-go, 2010, 2011. They were told what was going on 2012, 2013, and all the escalations that caused me to have a nervous breakdown. Yes, I am going to civilly criminally sue everybody involved, including my exes and their pranks and their jokes and their families who were involved in the police department pranks and whatnot at my expense. And I want the federal indictments for everybody who participated in lied and documents. So in the content, I want you guys to understand handling a bullying partner or bullying spouse or ex-husband, or if you're dealing with an ex-wife, same thing. I want to make sure that everybody understands. I don't care if you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, homosexual. I'm heterosexual. So in my case, it would be an ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance, and ex parte spouse. So when we're talking about a level of a life partner or someone that has big common law husband and playing games at my expense and embarrassing me, humiliating me, and harassing me on social media, which everybody's seen and heard. Now you guys understand all of the things that were being done and all the death threatening and terrorizing my daughter the same way is why I'm not amicable and why it's nothing but lividity, animosity, and hostility. I'm being professional at this point and speaking on it because I no longer have any emotional attachment to it. I'm done being emotional about it. But all the saboteur, provocateur, the bot farms, the troll farms, all the things that they were controlling and doing to me, I've had enough of. And yes, I will civilly criminally sue because all the social media managers were told what was going on from day one. They knew what was going on, but they benefited from it. So in handling a bullying partner, relationships is more common than most people realize. And I want you guys to understand that it's generally a subtle, but the effects may be far-reaching, even onto social media. A lot of times, narcs want to wear you down, and also your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And of all of that, my self-confidence is not worn down, just my patience with their BS. And I'm at the point that everybody has to go to jail, family included, foreign, domestic, local, non-local, and street theater that's been engaged in the levels of terrorism are provoked every day, morning, noon, and night, and disturbing of my sleep and causing all the levels of sleep deprivation, torment, torture, and the battery and tempering my bed and where I sleep and my belongings in my house. It's the last straw. I don't want to be in a relationship. I'm not going to sit there and be with someone that would sit there and obnoxiously irritate and provoke me or test my temperament and my loyalty. I'm making it abundantly clear. I'm not loyal to anybody but myself and the oath that I took. And that's about it. And we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be around people like that? No. I want to be around people who uplift me, people who share my dreams and my goals, people who really want to be around me, who really want to uplift me, and also celebrate me, not tolerate me. Also, I don't want people like that around me because they pull everyone down with them. I don't need to be around bad apples. I don't need to be around toxic apples. I don't need to be around poisonous, low-hanging fruit. I bet you don't want to be around these people either. I want you guys to understand how important it is in this presentation and positive thinking and ascending and doing the best that we can with what we can. And I bet you wouldn't want to be around anybody that's like that, that saboteurs or provocateurs. And as I told you, I'm trying to live my dream. And we have to look for ways to change our ways and all of those different things like that. Okay. So I wanted you guys to understand how important it is to live our dream and also find out what's positive in life and doing the best that we can. And, positive thinkers ultimately win at life, no matter what you're going through, and they also achieve their dreams. So I want to be a part of that. So I want to help you become better and greater and more mindful in all of that and be the difference maker around people around you, especially if you're dealing with kind of different things in your life and whatnot, to become healthier, happier, and more peaceful, and also more fulfilled in your life. So we will talk about the self-doubt, negativity, and things like that in tomorrow's training and whatnot. But I wanted to come on here long enough to give you guys an overview of what's going on and also learning how to deal with certain things and also dealing with bullies in the workplace. We also have to look at these different things that are part of the reason why it's hard to deal with these type of people. Because when you can't get a peace at home, can't get a peace at work, sometimes it's best to change the organization you're affiliated with, and sometimes it's best to leave. And then also it's also best to divorce or end an engagement or marriage or wedding or or nuptials and things like that, especially when someone is causing a level of significant discomfort or upset constantly. So in my case, I have all the above situations. So it's best for me to leave all areas, all facets, and then remove others who refuse to leave my life because they don't seem to understand that they've crossed the line, and I don't want them around either, disturbing my peace any further than they already have. So we have to overcome doubt and negative thinking. And that's one part of things that I think is important to do. So in of all of that, we have to learn that our relationship is at risk with ourselves if we don't take care of ourselves and take care of the things that are causing, creating hardships or obstacles in overcoming those hardships. And if we have people who are insistent on making our life hard, then it becomes a level of litigation and going forth. But if you have children, bullying takes a greater consequence, and that happened to my child. I wasn't the bully; it was the other individuals, and then also the alienation of my child. So I've been through it. So I want you guys to understand, as a life coach, wellness coach, divorce coach, business coach, that everything can happen that did happen, even as a professional. It's been very embarrassing. It's been very toxic. But as I told you guys, I took time off to come back and come back greater and better, and not even have to rehash all the other extra stuff. It's just fluff at this point. So I'm not going to feel guilty for addressing all these different things. I just want to make sure it's abundantly clear in the presentations of positive thinking, bulletproof motivation, and being able to get to a place that we are going to be comfortable to have conversations, opening up phone lines, and talking about all of our experiences in a good way. I don't want to talk about myself any further. I just want to talk about you guys. Students that come on here being obnoxious, you're not allowed to come back until you learn how to act. You're not welcome to come on here if you're going to provoke me, gaslight me, or play word salad, or try to test my nerves or my temperament, because I made it abundantly clear a lot of you guys have crossed the line and you're not invited back because you guys have done things that you know are obnoxious and you know what you're doing. So at this point in time, nobody's allowed to come on the lives until I say so. And I've learned that, sometimes we end up paying karma for other people's toxic, broken things that they've done to other people. So inadvertently, I've had to pay for other people's karma, which is not fair to me, but better me than someone else. Because eventually they'll realize they're hitting a brick wall, messing with me. They might as well go ahead and target someone else because their beef ended up causing them their own downfall. That's not my problem. So as I told you guys, the best thing that we can do is be positive, professional, and do everything we can to bring content and where it needs to be at. And that's in a professional manner and delivery. So you guys know what time it is. It's that monthly introduction overview of what's going to be happening for this month, next month. And as many people understand, in fact, for most of us, the thing that probably pops in our head every time we encounter challenges and negative thoughts is we blame things that have gone wrong. But in all that, we begin to lash out, we get upset with other people, but we have to take and harness the level of majesty of staying calm and also being illuminated one piece, those illuminated self and coming back to one. And then ourselves, do we want to be around those type of people? Absolutely not. So when we think about all these different things with negatively outcomes and things like that, we have to look at what could happen that can go right. We have to look at everything that people who basically pull us down, how to remove them and remove them effectively. If they're stubborn about being removed out of our life, then it goes to court order. Then it goes into restraining order, and then it goes into trespass order, or it goes into indictments. And that's where we're at. So we have to learn how to have positivity instead of negativity oozing out of our pores. I bet you wouldn't want to be around people who have nothing but negativity oozing out of their pores. So if that, don't be them. Okay. So make sure you all will have seen the coaching website. Make sure you book your appointments, subscribe to the podcast. Those who want normal online podcasts and webinars, interviews, book on Talk Radio DIVA websites. Make sure you go there and also download the new podcast and things like that. I'll be getting back into that. Moreover than being on lives, I will come live often, but not as often as I used to. But let's get into the show and let's just enjoy the channel, the webinars, the podcast, and local, non-local presentations, event coverage, and these social media streets. So we're going to start off with some meditation and some good mindful meditation that will help us. So these are some I am things that I think are important to help us along the way. So I want you guys to take some deep breaths. We're going to do some mindful meditation, and you guys can have a good listen.
Finding a comfortable position, allowing these words of adjusting your point of attraction and transforming your life. Repeat these words after me, making them your own as you drift through the different brainwave states, falling into a deep and revitalizing sleep. You can also listen to these affirmations during the day, allowing them to raise your vibration. Many blessings to you, my friends. I am new. In this moment, everything is new. I have new eyes to see my life, new feelings to experience the world. My life is new. Everything about this exact moment is fresh, clear, and new. I meet this moment new in being. I am in awe of this unique happening. Never again will this exact moment exist. It is a profound and miraculous adventure. I am new. All mind stuff is dropped. All thoughts are gone. And I experience this moment.
So, in the experience of mindfulness, I wanted to start off with affirmations and also a level of meditation. Here's the reason why. Meditation helps us get into a good state of calm, a state of rest, and a state of well-being. With all of that, I want you to understand what mindfulness is for and discovering the effects of mindfulness on your emotions, and also the ability to explore the heart of mindfulness and the sense of the enjoyment that comes from being mindful, being present, and being very positive in our thinking and our thinking skills. And it also has cardiovascular, central nervous system levels of abilities and benefits for boosting our brain, especially when we're dealing with sadistic, tormenting, abusing, gaslighting billionaires in Liverpool, Toronto, Calabasas, California, and several obnoxious, nasty, wealthy, well-connected narcs in Pensacola, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia. Just like my aunt who messed with this bed. My aunt is a nasty, sadistic person who deserves to be embarrassed at this moment. This is a naturally sadistic, tormenting, bullying terrorist I don't like. I look just like her. She's nothing but a malicious, mean, nasty, hateful, god-awful demon. She's a habitual, disgusting, pathologically abusive person. I'm aware of all of her antics and buffoonery and vandalizing my house. I'll be asking for the federal indictments for the nasty woman. She's an emotionally violent pick-me. She's a bully. She's an emotional terrorist. She knows my baby's father. I'll be asking for his arrest and her arrest subsequently. She owns a network. I'll be asking for her federal indictment. I'll be asking for the city of Pensacola to sue her into oblivion. I'll be asking for the arrest warrants for her and the wealthy, well-connected, obnoxious Toronto native who is related to her. I'll be asking for a criminal warrant for her arrest and his arrest. I'll be asking for the arrest of my ex who is connected to my aunt he went over to her network. I'll be asking for a federal indictment for all the IT tampering and provoking gaslight that she's done. She snuck her butt down here and it was confirmed by the federal agencies, the FBI and the DEA. I'll be asking for a federal indictment for her arrest, and I'll be asking for the city and county to be sued because of her obnoxious part in this and the vandalisms to my home and my AC unit and my car. I'll be asking for a federal indictment for attempted murder, murder for hire, and emotional abuse, tormenting, and vandalism to my home. I want you guys to understand what kind of obnoxious, nasty, wealthy, well-connected person this woman is. I want you guys to understand how I have to stay mindful to not want to go off on her. while I'm sitting here live. I feel sorry that she's such a nasty, empty, disgusting, despicable soul, a pathologically abusive, rich, wealthy, disgusting pick-me, a bully, an emotional terrorist, and a psychologically battering, nasty demon that's walked this earth far too long. I can't wait to see her in prison, and I hope to put her there. I hope to put my family there who supported her in her campaign of stupidity against me because she knows she had a part in my birth and situation, whatnot, and getting paperwork arranged. I want nothing to do with her. I want my aunt to know that I don't like you, I will never respect you, and I actually despise you. These are my ways of being mindful and being present that this woman has affected my life inadvertently, directly, and indirectly. And her ties to the city are over. Her ties to the county are over. The federal indictments will be coming because my FedEx's father worked for her. I want the federal warrants for her arrest, and I want her put in a prison cell, and I want to be there to press charges on her and my FedEx's father, who is involved in the YouTube antics and the IT antics, which is all been confirmed by federal agency. I want you guys to understand why I'm being very positive in all of this. This woman has directly and indirectly affected my life. My baby's father came into my life as a plant. My baby's father is nothing more than a despicable liar and a provoker and a gaslighter himself. I want him out of my life. I want to make sure that everybody gets civilly criminally sued, including his cousins who my aunt knows, and her homegirl, Ava, who was talking about KG, who is my baby daddy's cousin, who knows O from New York, from Chicago, as well as Hawaii. I want the federal indictments done because I'm sick of this nasty pick-me. I'm sick of her nasty antics and her wealthy, well-connected, obnoxious friends in Montecito, California, as well as Calabasas, California. And my FedEx's father has connections out there with them, as well as his wife, his ex-wife, who is running her mouth and doing things to me and bullying me on behalf of her son. So not only am I ready to sue my aunt and everybody else involved in California, I also the levels of stealing my content, hacking my websites, and playing these obnoxious games at my expense. So not only am I autistic high functioning, but this obnoxious, nasty, pick-me, bullying aunt of mine is done and finished. I don't care anything for her. I don't like her, and she knows it. She's every bit a part of these sadistic antics because it covered up all of her little nastiness and trafficking me and my sister and whatnot. And she benefited from it and became a billionaire. I don't like her, and I can't stand her, and she knows it. And all of this was told to me and confirmed by the feds. They've been looking to indict her for other such things and whatnot. That's not my monkeys, not my show. But I want to make sure that the nail is in her coffin because I don't like her. So all the terrorizing me, provoking me, messing with my bed that O's done, and vandalizing my house, I want the federal indictments. I want Andy that was down here, who's connected to Kim, and the police officer was down here, Mr. Humphreys, and then also Nikki's brother who lives down here, who I was friends with. I want the federal indictments for all parties, all matters, including my FedEx, who lied about his identity. The feds have told me that's the same person that Nikki's married to. And I want the criminal indictments for everybody involved, including Jason and Tiny Yarbrough down there. And then I want Lula May Archie and Russell Archie paid off police in 2012, 2013. I want you guys to understand, I don't want to have to keep talking about this. And they're not going to keep on sabotaging and playing all kind of nasty games, especially with the signal. And what the feds have actually contracted with the streaming company, and they are aware of it because they've been listening in on all of this, and they're getting everything that they need so they can do the indictments for O, and both O's will be going to jail because you don't play these type of games with someone. And your homegirl Kim, who your manager recently passed away, was stealing my content, and the registrar had confirmed it. Not only did the registrar confirm it, but it's a billion-dollar company that's backing me. They are wanting Susan Tillman with an indictment. They want her arrested, and they want Andy, who's her family member in Leor, fired and terminated from their respective jobs, and they're fed up with it, and so am I. I wanted to make sure that everybody was involved in all the pranking, provoking, and gaslighting. So Mr. Allison, who is involved in the YouTube provoke and gaslight, will be getting federal indictments and sued. Alphabet Inc. will be getting sued. And then on top of that, you CICI Allison and Miss B that were involved in the IT tamperings and provokings, and Tina Lawson will be getting indictments. I meant what I said because the feds have been looking at this and observing all of this. I'm done being a pawn in the situation. And there are also cases that were going on 26 years that they were doing a level investigation, and the overlap from what they had all done to me in 2012, 2013 is interlinked with all of that. So I'm at the point that the city and county will be sued because they were told what was going on and they didn't listen. And they didn't listen when I called the federal agencies, but the federal agencies did keep a document of it, and they're ready to go forward with lawsuits. And it's also a political situation having to deal with my aunt knowing the guy, that the squatter in the White House prior. So I want you guys to understand what this is really about. It's a lot of things that were going on from New York. So at this point in time, it's all stemming out around 91, 93, and the Griselda Blanco cases. Those are DEA cases, as well as Mr. Sean Corey Carter and his wife in those cases and whatnot, 91, 93. I'm not going to keep going through this anymore. And when people have had benefits to deal with social media managers and are on the board of directors like Sean Corey Carter, on Square Cash App, as well as Periscope Twitter, and I got went after because of Tina Lawson and Monica Allison, I want the indictments done. I've had enough of their obnoxious antics and the things that happened to me on Facebook because of Monica Allison and all of their too little crew who thought it was funny to catfish me, terrorize me on Facebook. All of this has been addressed for 10 years. So not only am I fed up with the content creators that you guys like Allison had doing things to me on YouTube, but all of them are getting indicted who participated in PSYOPs terrorism on behalf of Allison and the antics that they did in wiring my house, the wire sitting up there right now. I want you guys to understand the Cat 5, Cat 6 cable that's sitting up there is yellow. It's the same cable that they use to sit there and wire my house because it's sitting there in my garage. They know exactly what they did, and I want the federal indictments for sneaking down here and wiring my house and playing psychiatric abuse games, provoking me and gaslighting me and having me look crazy and whatnot. I want the indictments for unlawfully accessing my home and vandalizing my home while I was away in Atlanta, Georgia. I want the criminal indictments for the city and county for the street theater and the provoke and gaslight that my neighbors have done, and the punitive entertainment that I've been threatened one too many times with Agent Burris, Harris, Larson, Lawson, that'll be Melissa Lawson, Tina Lawson, and then on top of that, Agent Harris and Burris that were down here with the BS and Agent Lombardi. I want the criminal indictments for Agent Humphreys from 2012, 2013, and everybody else that was on the payroll of my exes and their now lousy families who were involved in all those DEA cases from 91, 93 when I was a little girl. Just one moment, you all. And my apologies, I'm having to deal with the AC in it, and it's aggravating me and whatnot. So that's why I had to do something about it right quick. Because GE, Georgia Power Southern Company, has been complicit in all the terrorist and provoking gaslight games, their corporate offices in Tampa. And I'll go ahead and look it up for you guys so that the criminal indictments can be sent to them. And the city and county of Pensacola will be sued for allowing them to keep this up. Because it takes away from my presentations, and I've had enough of it. Each one of my presentations are $500 and $1,000, and for the 290 presentations that they messed up in 2 and 3 years, they're going to pay for that, and they will be receiving the receipts. I'll finish adding up how many of the other lives outside on my porch during COVID that they've messed up, and that's 130. So I'll be making sure they get the receipts in city and county. So OBT&E, who messed with my AC unit, and OBT&E, who messed with my vehicles, will be getting indictments for criminal attempted murder and murder for hire and car tampering and vehicular homicide attempts. They're only pissed off because I'm aware of it, and the feds have briefed me on all of that. They couldn't fix the car. It was set to blow up. So Florida Power and Light Company is 700 Universe Boulevard, and that would be Juno Beach, Florida. That's by Tampa, Florida. They will be getting civilly sued in criminal indictments and criminal injunctions. And city and county of Pensacola will be getting federal indictments for influence, racketeering, organizational terrorism, and repeated aggravated battery and city countywide district torment and abuse, and also terrorizing me in this house. Not only will I civilly criminally sue all of them, but they were told what was going on. I asked to have meetings with Chief Lighter who failed to do his job and blamed it on his wife having cancer. It's not my problem. I don't care. And then on top of that, the levels of terrorism that they did to me in the city and county and luring me back and keeping up this terroristic abuse. OBT&E who vandalized my house, as well as Victoria and Brad, all of them who were involved and engaged in the levels of terrorism, tearing up my house. I'm aware of Antonio Grady Cannon and Shaughnessy Moss and other people who are down here tearing up my house alongside the WWE superstars I went to school with. I want the criminal indictments because Doug McMahon's son actually works at the Pensacola Police Department. I want the federal criminal indictments for everybody who came down here tearing up my house and the fluff that you guys have seen on the floor. And you guys saw the live action video of when my roof caved in and almost hit me in my head. I want the civil indictments, criminal indictments. I want the neighbors picked up and pulled out of here, and all the street theater and find individuals and their children picked up on domestic terrorism, neighborhood abuse, and fear by neighbor tactics. So when I tell you guys in this overview, I didn't want to have to go over this, but since they insisted on being obnoxious and torment and aggravate and provoke me, I decided to make sure that I changed a little bit and did what I normally do best, and that's to outline every little obnoxious, nasty thing that they've been doing and causing levels of itching and scratching and provoking me and gaslighting me. And also, I didn't buy a warming bed, so I'll be asking for criminal indictments for messing with my bed. And then also the nasty Liverpool that who thinks it's funny to play games and talk about flames and whatnot, or talk about my toothbrush being in the toilet. I want the criminal indictments for all the psychiatric abuse, emotional abuse, tormenting, and bullying, and terrorism, and playing nasty games at my expense. And I meant what I said. I didn't buy a warming bed, so I think they need to stop playing these psychotic games at my expense. Or I'll have the feds come down here and figure out what's going on with this bed. That rig. Anybody's got any questions about all the provoked gaslight games that the city and county's leached on me and done, and Mr. Young's little nasty antics and whatnot, including Marshall's little nasty IT antics that's been traced to Venezuela where he's at? Does anybody have any questions about all the things that have gone on and how they've tried to sabotage and play in my face? And since that wealthy, well-connected billionaire thinks everything's a joke, that'd be the Toronto native that's almost a billionaire, and then the Liverpool nasty narc who knows my FedEx and his wife who has a flat in England, that was playing in my face, and my cell phone ended up in Liverpool. I'm not going to call his name because I don't like him and he knows I hate him, and the police have his name anyway, and I'm done. Has anybody got a question so far? Because Katrina said I was sitting on a ticking time bomb. That'd be the white woman over there at Baptist Hospital who'll be getting indictments just like Brittany Breonna Williams over the Children's Services Center who threatened me after I mentioned that billionaire's name, and I wanted to see exactly what was going to happen. So she threatened me bullets and journals and wheelchairs, just like the lady that rolled down to my house on that wheelchair after they were provoking and gaslighting me in the city and county. So do you guys understand the examples of street theater, provoking gaslight, and terrorism? I'm not afraid to go to war with the city and county because they pissed me all the way off. And this billionaire, obnoxious, nasty, disgusting, despicable Liverpool guy has pissed me all the way off. And I could care less about putting him underneath the prison where he belongs. I want nothing to do with him because my obnoxious ex-wife and her dirtbag homegirl are connected to the same lousy, nasty, disgusting, despicable psychopath. And my cell phone also ended up in Liverpool and Cambridge, England. So now you guys know why I'm not playing, and I'm going to keep my foot on his neck until he quits provoking me and gaslighting me. I don't want to be around him, and I don't want to work with him, and I don't want to be near him or around his family either. So I hope you guys understand how I feel about all the things that they've been doing. Again, I didn't buy a warming bed, and I heard the little pranks were to terrorize me, provoke me, or cause my blood pressure to rise. So we're at the point of criminal indictments, federal indictments, and the feds can come down here and rip up this bed if they want to. As Katrina said, I was sitting on this ticking time bomb. Because their pathological terrorism provoking me and pissing me off has gotten to the point that I'm absolutely nuclear upset. And also as a life coach and a wellness coach and having to put up with the obnoxious terroristic antics that provoke at my expense and the us level and the purge level terrorism that O, B, T, and E have done in tampering my car, I want the indictments for Atlanta and also Pensacola, Florida. And I want every corrupt politician involved, including city and county-wide managers and all the domestic terrorism, street theater that they allowed down in Pensacola, Florida, all the threats that they did to me at the JPO office. I want everybody fired, terminated, and arrested and indicted. And since this billionaire got on my thing and said billionaires and millionaires were in on this, then all those billionaires and millionaires who are connected to my ex and his nasty wife and her dirtbag homegirl, they can all lose all their resources, and it'll be the biggest exchange in wealth because I'm not playing these sadistic games anymore. I'm not going to go along and get along. I'm not going to allow these terroristic threats and the provoke and gaslighting because I heard that my father's trying to force something on me, a conservatorship. I don't need one. And I heard my adopted mom wanted one because she knows she spent up money that wasn't hers. And then on top of that, my real mom had tried to have me murdered, which is what was told to me online. And the feds also have been investigating about my real mom and the murder for hire, which is why I was talking about it in the first place. So I want the indictments done. And when you rig someone's bed or you terrorize someone in their house or you play psychiatrically abusive games or you enlist a level of doctors on payroll, lawyers on payroll, and other such individuals on payroll to harm and hurt someone who's autistic high functioning, then my dirtbag, abusive, nasty aunt who got in my house and played with my house and my home and my bed needs to be going to a penitentiary where she belongs. She should have been there 20 years ago. Per the feds, I could care less. So I want you guys to understand why I'll help facilitate making sure she goes there. And then my family members who sat in front of Pensacola Police Department officers and said I would end up dead in front of them and they didn't arrest her. And then she threatened me in front of my daughter and said I would die and whatnot, or I'll end up on my sister's food truck and all the things that she said over at the JPO's office. And the JPO who decided to want to play nasty games at my expense. I want the indictments for Miss Wallace and Miss Lewis. And I meant what I said because I've had enough of the obnoxious antics in Escambia County. And I got lured back to this misery-causing, misery-creating set of nasty, disgusting folks who would continue all their escalations and torments. And then not only that, I've been trolled and gaslit one too many times as a life coach, wellness coach, business coach. And if I had a gaslighting husband, like the girl came down here and called me by the name of my FedEx's wife, she took his married name and whatnot. I'm finding out that's his real name. I want the criminal indictments for all of them, and I want the criminal restraining orders. And yes, I will show up to court and testify against both of them. And yes, I will sue the brakes off the city and county of Atlanta and also Pensacola, Florida. I don't like being put in a situation that has nothing to do with me other than my birth and being a special victim. And then on top of that, I don't like being pranked, provoked, and gaslit. I don't like having me look like Brady Broderick screaming and hollering or being tormented, abused, and provoked by the same billionaires and millionaires who are connected to Mr. Carter and Mrs. Carter and Onika, Nikki, the same one, Jason and Tynesa, who are my friends that I used to go over to Olula Archie's house, the same Russell Archie who paid off Pensacola Police Department 2012, 2013 to not do their job. I want the federal indictments for all the bungling of cases, provoking me, gaslighting me, and terrorizing me, and then I'm the one who ended up embarrassed and humiliated while they got to live their best life at my expense. I want the federal criminal indictments for all of the obstruction of justice, and then also the tormenting and bullying. And then when Katrina, the white woman over there, sat there and said I was sitting on a ticking time bomb in my house, I want the federal indictments for who rigged my bed. I want the federal indictments for Zeke Allison and Noah Taylor, who's been doing all the IT provoking gaslight, because they're connected to B, who John David Allison Kenny Petty was married into that family by Michelle Cook, BMF Michelle Cook. So I want the federal indictments for every person who's involved in the Bot Farms, Shoal Farms, including John Yates, who's Barbara Yates' people from Pensacola, Florida, and Monica Allison, whose husband worked over there at the Escambia County Sheriff's Department, alongside Keisha Morris and Mariel Holloway. All these people who are connected to industry individuals, and I made it clear I'm tired of this. So with that being said, the day that my roof caved in on my head, I decided that when somebody says something about picking and choosing battles, I didn't choose this battle. I didn't choose to go through this as a life coach. I didn't choose to go through negative, detrimental, diabolical, lethal harm. I didn't choose to go through Energy Select, which wasn't supposed to be installed in my house, and they installed it anyway. All of the locksmiths, American Lock and Safe, Pensacola Lock and Safe, and Ace Unlocks will be getting federal indictments, and all the locksmiths who allowed them to get in my house and do this mess. You had no business giving my keys to anybody. And then on top of that, my car keys and whatnot that was done at 77 Chevrolet and Alan Turner Automotive. I want the federal indictments done because you had no business provoking gaslighting and tearing up my cars. You had no business rigging my cars, and you had no business terrorizing me. And then the police department who wouldn't do anything about it. All of these officers who don't like me are the same remains of the ones that are going through a level of internal investigation. And I want all of them fired and terminated. All the lying at the police department, all the playing in my face, all the obnoxious torment, all of these sadistic things that they've done to me, even when I was doing my presentations. I want you guys to understand why I will be divorcing a nasty, wealthy, well-connected, disgusting, despicable narc who thinks he's above the law. I made it clear I don't want to get married or remarried or be in a relationship. I don't want to go through with a wedding. I don't want to be in an arranged marriage. I don't want to marry anybody. I don't want to be with someone that has provoked me and pranked me and pissed me all the way off. There is no fixing this. There is no finessing this. And terrorizing me and death threatening me online or recruiting friends or people to sit there and play nasty games at my expense and harm my child by proxy, or threats to harm my child, or threats to put things on my computer that I don't condone are another reason why. Sorry guys, it's so hot in here. So I want you guys to understand that all the tormenting, bullying me, and playing all these nasty games, and then my exes have backgrounds in that, and Shaughnessy Moss, 3D Cannon, and all that are connected to Nick Cannon and all their family members, and Keith Perrin, and that would be Jennifer Perrin and whatnot, and Raven Austin, who's connected to another Agent Austin that was down here in 2012, 2013, who didn't do his job. So I want you guys to understand that I'm done being played with. They've played me for a sucker once many times, and they have done too much to me on social media, embarrassed me, and used social media for the wrong thing and terrorizing me. And when my last resort is to end up sounding like Betty Broderick online and having to return a level of retaliation and have to respond in a manner that I don't normally respond. Just one moment, you guys. Sorry, you guys. I had to fix my hair out of my face. When I have to deal with a tormenting, gaslighting set of industry narcs who have crossed the line, pissed me all the way off, it was kind of like when I watched the Wendy Williams show and I watched Joan Rivers' daughter, Melissa Rivers, talk about she doesn't care about anybody's story. Well, I don't care about you being an entitled, nasty pick-me. I don't care about your story either, because a lot of people don't deserve their fame and fortune. A lot of entitled celebrities have pissed me all the way off, and some of them who participate on behalf of my ex are part of the problem. So when I tell you there's a levels of antics and buffoonery, Patty's IT antics, and several other individuals who have been involved in the provoke and gaslight games, I made it clear that I'm done. I'm walking away. I don't even want to go industry anymore. I don't even want to be around industry individuals because they have put a bad taste in my mouth and they have pissed me all the way off. And my FedEx is why each one of them that went to industry running their mouth to people I know and I'm related to, and I don't find it funny. I am all the way nuclear ticked off. And when they've affected my business and my business quality presentations for a number of years, I have nothing I want to do with industry. I despise and loathe everybody in it. I don't want to be around celebrities because I'm related to a bunch of them. They're obnoxious and they piss me off as well. And then anybody that would play in my face and my exes sat there and orchestrated that level of damages, I don't want anything to do with family who's in the industry. I want them kicked out of the industry and I don't want to be around them either. I've had enough. And the last straw was threats to clone me, threats to have me killed and murdered, and threats that they had agents on payroll and city and county on payroll. After that, I was done. So there will be no relationship to reconcile, and I refuse to. I'm just ready to go to court. And they do this every time I have to go to court for my daughter. So not only do they always sabotage, provoke, and gaslight, they've been doing this, and I'm tired of it. And then when my ex's mother's suggestion was, maybe you should get off the internet, that's what narcs say when they want you silenced. I'm not going to be silenced about it because my ex's family member is in Gulf Breeze. And as of now, I've seen the Gulf Breeze tapping of my line. And it's sitting right here. Noah Taylor. Noah Taylor sees Isaac Allison, BMFDEA Allison's brother from Gulf Breeze. Gianna Avery Allison's uncle. I want the indictments for the Allisons, Carters, and everybody else who's involved in the provoke gaslight, and then taking it to industry and using my private life for a storyline is another thing, and the reason why. So as a life coach in the T-Mobile that's on here, T-Mobile D1, D9, Anderson Wi-Fi, Thompson Wi-Fi, and Lulu, as it's on there. I want the indictments for invasion of privacy and all the obnoxious hidden networking and buffoonery need to stop. I made it clear to Cox Cable, AT&T, and also Dish Network when this was going on that I want indictments done for invasion of privacy, technology facilitated abuse, unlawful tapping of devices and smart home devices, as well as the thermostat and AC unit, which the feds have confirmed that can be done. I want criminal indictments for all parties, all matters, because there's no excuse for what they did to me. And I'm not forgiving it, and I never will. But as a life coach in this overview, I want you guys to understand how they affected my coaching business and my practice and how far they have done damages and continue to do damages and don't seem to know what stop, no, don't mean, and quit means. So with that being said, I'm not being driven crazy in my own house, my home-based business. What I will do is I'll seek to have a lawyer, anybody that's a good lawyer out there, see me. And if you are a federal lawyer, criminal lawyer, as well as an intellectual property lawyer, come see me so we can get a dream team, and I will be taking the city and county to court. If they don't quit provoking me and gaslighting me, I will have Channel 3 News in my house for them to see the roof damages and whatnot, and I will embarrass Pensacola, Florida entirely. I will have every news station from CICI HD down here to see everything they did to my house, and the criminal indictments and criminal restraining orders will go through. I will make sure everybody gets indicted and lawsuits for everybody who was getting in my house, tearing up my belongings and whatnot. I don't find this funny, and I meant what I said. If Barbara Robinson wants to be a nasty narc, then I'm going to make sure I return the fire. because I'm tired of him and he didn't do his job. And I meant what I said. Either get them to stop these escalations or go to jail. It's not negotiable. Same thing with the police department. They're provoking gaslight games with the IT. Either get them to stop or take those officers in the IT department and fire every last one of them, including Damon Thompson. Have I made it abundantly clear, you guys? So with that being said, I want Mr. Young's little connections to the city and county. I want them severed, and I want Miss Winfrey's connections to the city and county severed and untied. And then on top of that, Miss West and also Miss Mirage's ties to the city and county with the Wades, the Taylors. I want the indictments done. And I meant what I said because I was in the Facebook incubator with another Winfrey from Atlanta, Georgia. So I made it clear with Damon John's incubator with Robin Coke from NBC Universal. I'm not joking because I've had it with everybody who's in the industry. And when I said I'm going to tear it down, it means I'm going to tear it up. So everybody understands you don't keep on trolling me, provoking me, or gaslighting me, or tormenting me on social media. You don't use social media to abuse me, embarrass me, and humiliate me the way that you all have done. You're not going to get a second chance to apologize. You're not going to get a chance to say I'm sorry. You took this to a level of nuclear abusing, terrorism, and provoke and gaslight. You also use doctors and lawyers on your payroll. I want Mr. Young with a federal indictment, Ms. Winfrey with an indictment, Mr. Winfrey with an indictment, Mr. Hicks with an indictment, and everybody else who participated that is industry connected to my FedEx and the lousy FedExes that went to the network and play these nasty behind games at my expense. I meant what I said about Mr. Daniels and his connection to the other Mrs. Hicks. So I meant what I said when I said I want federal indictments for everybody who was involved. You had no business playing in my face, and you had no business putting me in a situation I didn't sign up for. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we have a good level of understanding about positivity, positive thinking, and ascending and all of that. So we're going to go into the last little bit of this content. We've been on an hour, and I told you guys I'm not making it more than an hour. Enjoying the benefits of mindfulness. Again, understanding that mindfulness is for when you're going through hardships or hard times, or people who are making your life hard or miserable, or discovering the effects of mindfulness on your emotions, exploring the heart and the mindfulness and all of that. And also a level, it comes from a level of dancing even in the rain, or those that rain our parade or do everything to sabotage or provoke and gaslight that they've been doing for years. And when I tell you guys they've rained on my parade 120 times, they have done 120 things to me to where it's not amicable. So with that, I want you guys to understand that I've been through a lot as a life coach, a wellness coach, and anybody that would not take me seriously and literally do that to me and make a fool of me as a life coach, a wellness coach, business coach, and a certified professional and a degree professional, how dare you? And I want nothing to do with them. And the purge level of terrorism that they did to me and the S level of terrorism that they did to me is unacceptable, inhumane, malicious, and foul. So with that being said, I want you guys to understand that the benefits of mindfulness helps us with our cardiovascular, our central nervous system, and coming back down to normal and becoming more or less our illuminated original self. So I want you guys to understand that dancing in the rain for the sake of dancing, and those that try to rain our parade, that's why I wanted to make sure the buck stopped here, so that they will not continue their maliciousness or provoking and gaslighting. I've already addressed this to YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Clubhouse, Periscope, Twitter, and also other corporate CEOs with also Bigo, and as well as Twitch. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I will put everybody in jail before they keep on playing these provoking gaslight games. I will put my own family in prison over this. I meant what I said. They have crossed the line that they can't come back from. And then when doctors and lawyers were on payroll, when I went to the help and nobody did anything about it, you bet your bottom dollar I am nuclear ticked all the way off. And when someone says I'm sitting on a ticking time bomb in my house, then I want the indictments for fear mongering, crazy making, and covert threats and overt threats when I was detained. And I don't want to spoil anybody's day. I want you guys to have a good day. I want this Father's Day to be a good one for the fathers who are active, not the deadbeats or the ones that don't pay child support or circumvent money to their lawyers to keep from paying child support because the child will be turning 18. He seems to think he doesn't have a responsibility. You do have a responsibility. You get Mr. Hospital to take that money out of his name, and if he's already squandered, he better come up with that $38,000, and it better hurry up and get into my account. Department of Revenue is coming after Mr. Hospital's Esquire's license as well as yours. And I meant what I said. I'm not playing with none of them. They better run me my money because the Department of Revenue said they've already paid it out. Run me my cash. So the journey in meditation and becoming mindful and learning how to let ourselves dance in the middle of a thunderstorm or a kerfuffle in our life or obstacles in our life or next to impossible, hopeless situations. So when I decided to have hope, I decided to go and take a leap of faith and not operate in bad faith, but operate in good faith to do the best that I can with what I can and do the best as a life coach, wellness coach. I want you guys to understand that it helps us to unfold the real illuminated one within. It helps us to add bonuses along the way and also discover the mindfulness that can help us even when we're dealing with strategic, diabolical abuse or pathological, cultivated, or deliberate abuses, kind of like what I'm going through right now. Can you just one moment, guys? And all the provoking and gaslighting and things like that, and the jokes at my expense that Mr. Rothschild and Mr. Graham thought was funny to do. I meant what I said. I don't like you, either one of you. I meant what I said. I despise and loathe both of you. And I'm going to embarrass you till you leave me alone. And I made it clear to the local police department about Mr. Graham, Mr. Rothschild's little nasty antics, and since Breonna Williams threatened me behind Mr. Rothschild after I name dropped him, I wanted to clear why they did it. And I'm sick of it. And I made it clear to the Pensacola Police Department, I'm not going to put up with Mr. Graham's little jokes at my expense or Mr. Rothschild, who are also connected to Nikki, the same obnoxious, nasty woman who's kept this up, and Kim, who is still in my content. So you guys got any questions so far? I hope everybody understands why I did this today, because I meant what I said. I don't care if you're global elite. Who do you think you are? And I don't care if you are a celebrity or a celebrity influencer or attached to other celebrities. I'm related to celebrities and I don't even like them. What makes you think I'm going to allow you to walk all over me and play all these embarrassing games and think I'm not going to drag you for filth? So that'll be the last time I mention Rothschild or Mr. Graham. Nikki can have either one of them because she's the same triangulating person that caused all these issues and problems. And I want nothing to do with her or my FedEx. Jonathan, David, Allison, Kenny Petty, who the feds confirms is the same person. And Sasha Banks, who came down here and called me Petty. I'm not Miss Petty. I hate her. I hate him. I hate him more than they hate her. And I want nothing to do with them. And Miss Petty's the one who dogs Mr. Rothschild. That's how I found out about all of this. So I want nothing to do with any of these people. And when my cell phone ended up in Liverpool, Cambridge, England, there is no working this out because it was stolen in Atlanta 2016 or 2017. And all of that was recorded to Sprint PCS. And I want the indictments done for all the crap they did to me. I will not reconcile with anybody, foreign or domestic. So with that being said, as a life coach, a wellness coach, and business coach, and divorce coach, I had to learn how to positively think. I had to learn how to think on my toes. I had to learn how to think dealing with an obnoxious city and county that allowed a wealthy, well-connected billionaire and his obnoxious pick me little trampoline to play all these nasty games while he was being used and doing dirty work and playing games in my face. He was being thrown underneath the bus by her and being doxxed in 2017 and 2010. So that's not my problem. The same thing with Mr. Graham. So I don't have a problem. I don't care. I don't want them around me. I don't want to work with people like this who have literally recruited other content creators to play in my face. And while people are hacking my devices and dealing out my content. So now you guys know why there's animosity and hostility. And I will never work with anybody that did me that way or played in my face or played jokes at my expense. So that's why Pensacola Police Department was told. So was Atlanta PD. So when I tell you guys how far that I'm done, it means I don't want a relationship with anybody. I don't want to work in a relationship with anybody that would do that. And Victoria, I dropped letter. But playing games with my daughter and having her butt kissing and brown nose into Mr. Rothschild can explain that in federal court. And all of her IT tampering with my cell phone, which was confirmed by Apple, Google, and as well as Amazon and Alphabet Inc. So now you guys know that I'm not playing with none of them. All the despicable antics at my expense, I'm done with. I'm done sounding like Betty Broderick at my wits' end, and the deliberate abusing and the calculated sabotage. That's why everybody's getting dragged through filth. And that's why I'm making sure that I finally seal the deal for everybody getting indictments, because I made it clear to the city of Pensacola and the county of Escambia that they keep on tearing up my house on behalf of a wealthy, well-connected, obnoxious billionaire and an almost billionaire and a bunch of dirtbags who are industry connected, that I would destroy everything. And I meant what I said. That includes their career and their assets and their finances on top of it. And I warned you, if you keep on terrorizing me, provoking me, or tormenting me in my own house where I'm sitting at, or playing all these psychotic, psychological psyops, terroristic games, or having content creators do this, I was going to destroy everything. And I meant what I said. So a lot of my relationships, personal and professional, are destroyed, and I could care less. But at least I'll be able to get my freedom back. All of it's documented for federal court, civil court, county court, criminal court, and the FBI van 270 was sitting right there listening the whole entire time, so I could care less. So hopefully all of y'all can go to jail and rot. This is what happens when you play too much and play with someone and play with their sanity or their well-being or their safety. I'll show it to you in real time so you guys know I'm not lying. They've been surveilling and whatnot. There we go. That's my cell phone. So that is the FBI on there. I told you guys I'm done being played with. And every content creator who did things on behalf of Latasha, either you fess up or you go to jail. Hacking my devices and playing with me one too many times, and telecom companies who are actually investigating through Andy and Nikki and Kim underneath the bus, because they don't want indictments and they don't want a level of racketeering investigations with their corporation because of what Ms. Cohen had done at their corporation. And then one Iona's, HostGator, GoDaddy all have went banded together, and they're also going to go forward with the lawsuits against each one of these individuals. They're going to learn a deep lesson about terrorizing and provoking and gaslighting and doing things on social media and terrorizing me one too many times or trolling me one too many times. I told you I was going to destroy your whole career, and I meant what I said. So if you chose a side, stay there. Anybody that sat there, picked on me, and bullied my child, you need to face the music that you did too much, and you did too much to my child, and terrorizing me and fear-mongering me and having me living in fear, and I've never feared anybody a day in my life, not even a billionaire. I think everybody needs to understand this crossed the line, and city and county needs to be held responsible for allowing them to keep up doing this. I'm done. So Brianna Brittany Williams, who threatened me and whatnot about bullets and journals and wheelchairs, I understand that she'll be getting indictments when she gets back off of maternity leave. And then Lee, who sat there and watched her do it, either has a choice to turn state on her or get an indictment for allowing her to sit there and say that crap before my mom walked in. So anybody got any questions so far? So I'm not going to end up in wheelchairs and whatnot. I'm not going to end up with strokes and heart attacks. They've done everything to cause one. So all the tampering with my house and my home, causing it to be lethal levels of heat and disrespectful levels of heat, forced heat convection from the ceiling. I want the criminal indictments, and I want the federal warrants for everybody involved, local and non-local. So with that being said, I want you guys to understand, as a life coach, I had to be mindful and present. I had to learn how to overcome toxic, deadly, harmful, hateful people and sadistic, saboteur, provocateur agents, all of which are going to be indicted here soon. I have no problem seeing them do it because I'm sick of them. I want to see them humiliated and harmed the way that they harmed me. I want to see them go through it and sit in a jail cell and live in a prison just like I did. live in a prison of having to sit there and go through all the embarrassment, humiliation, degradation, and the disgusting, despicable displays of misconduct, and then embarrassing me on social media to where I get sick of it, fight back, and sound like Betty Broderick snapping and going off and sounding triggered and upset. Now you guys understand why I'm done and why I'm so calm, because I'm ready to go to war over every bit of the nastiness that they did and unleashed on me in Escambia County, Pensacola, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia. There is no working anything out, and I'm not going to live with anybody that would sit there and choke in that manner, let alone play with my life or play with my sanity or my well-being. So when people play dirty politics and hateful, harmful levels of misconduct, it affected me. As you guys can see, I'm calm. As you guys can see, I'm calm while I'm sitting up there being hotboxed in my house from the AC in it, giving off nothing but dry, disrespectful heat. It's causing my skin to itch, but I'm doing the best I can with what I can, dealing with the obnoxious levels of damages and the lethal levels of harm and the $10,000 worth of damages. You guys saw the receipt earlier, $10,000 after tax and $5,000 for the AC unit that they deliberately tampered. Now you guys know why I was suing the brakes off the city and the county. They knew exactly what they were doing, and I reported it to Habitat for Humanity, which is under HUD. So I do want criminal indictments for all of the antics of Mr. Young's little obnoxious part in this and the IT provoking gaslight. You don't sit around here and do this to people, and I'm not going to protect anybody. I don't care if you're family or not. I don't care who you are. You have no right to do what you did. You destroyed my life. You destroyed my daughter. You destroyed my experience as a mother to where I never want to be a mother again. And I don't want to run the risk of having kids because of my body going downhill from all of the stress and trauma. I want damages, and I want every bit of restitution, and I want each person court ordered to a mental health facility or a federal penitentiary, whichever one is greater or the lesser. I don't care as long as you stay away from me and you're court ordered to do so. So with that being said, I want you guys to understand, as a life coach, it's been very hard to be positive and positive thinking. So we're going to start tomorrow with mindfulness, being positive, and we're going to turn this frown upside down. We're going to turn the straight face into a smile. Right now, I don't feel like smiling. Right now, I am nuclear annoyed. I am ticked off. Yes, I am ticked off with all the sabotage. I want to work. I don't want to be in a marriage. I don't want to be stuck at home with children. I want to work. I don't want to be bothered anymore. I love children. I just don't want to deal with the situation I've had with my family alienating my child. I don't want them to have any contact with my children. I don't want any more of what I've gone through. I'm tired and I'm done. I'm sick of my family, local, non-local, and foreign and domestic. I want them all out of my life so I can live my best life and not be bothered with another toxic, obnoxious, wealthy, well-connected man on top of that. I don't like jokes at my expense, and I don't have a sense of humor. I don't find any of what's happened funny. I find it embarrassing, sadistic, lethal, calculated, and diabolical and harmful. And at this point, I'm not a happy camper. But I wanted to share this with you guys in mindfulness because sometimes it's not easy. But in of all of that, we're going to leave this on a positive note. We're going to meditate, and then we're done. And I think that's a positive note that we can end on today. Because every time I think about it, it makes me mad. But I want us to stay in a good place and continue on in our journey.
Finding a comfortable position, allowing these words of newness and clarity to resonate in your body and radiate out into your field. These affirmations, if used consistently, will change the frequency of your vibration and your subconscious programming, adjusting your point of attraction and transforming your life. Repeat these words after me, making them your own as you drift through the different brainwave states, falling into a deep and revitalizing sleep. You can also listen to these affirmations during the day, allowing them to raise your vibration. Many blessings to you, my friends. I am new. In this moment, everything is new. I have new eyes to see my life. new feelings to experience the world. My life is new. Everything about this exact moment is fresh, clear, and new. I meet this moment new in being. I am in awe of this unique happening. Never again will this exact moment exist. It is a profound and miraculous adventure. I am new. All mind stuff is dropped. All thoughts are gone. And I experience this moment, present and aware. I can see so clearly now that which was hidden before. I see more beauty than ever before. I feel fresh and clean in this moment. Like life has showered me in its loving lineament. Like all that which has gone before has nothing on what exists right now. I am new right now. There is no repeating this moment. This moment is special and unique.
So in this moment, this allows us to be peaceful, no matter what kind of day you're having, no matter what you're going through. I wanted to share all of that with you guys so that we can put this to rest. I wanted to put all of those things that have gone on in the past to rest. I do not want to go into the next months, weeks, years in dealing with this in this manner. I want all of this stuff to be over. I don't want to have to deal with this any further. I'm ready to go to court so that I can move on and my presentations can be about just the content itself. I shouldn't have to stop and start and have to keep talking about the same things they deliberately do to sabotage every presentation. And like I said, until they learn to stop bothering me when I'm presenting, until my students learn how to be respectful, you're not allowed on here. Until y'all stop playing psychiatric abusive games, environmental terroristic games, I will continue to document and make sure that there's indictments for every person. I have the number of Chief Randall for the police department, and I made it clear how far it's going to go in indictments, and I made it clear I'm not playing. So with that being said, I will get people fired until they get and understand that this is not going to keep happening, online or offline. The law enforcement officers who have it in for me and don't like me, they need to hurry up and pack up, turn in your badge, turn in your Glock, your 45, or your special 38 special, and leave the force, because I'm not a problem. I don't have a problem with cops. I have a problem with the dirty ones that have been on the payroll of this wealthy, well-connected, obnoxious billionaire and this nasty, disgusting Toronto native. I've made it clear that I'm sick of them. They're all connected to that same lousy FedEx and his nasty wife who took this girl down here picking with me. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm done. I want out of this misery, and this situation has been so toxic, legal, harmful, and calculated and diabolical to the point that I will sue social media management because they knew what was going on for 10 years and nobody did anything. I made it clear I'm not being picked at, provoked, or gaslit, and I made it clear to YouTube, I made it clear to Facebook, Meta, and I made it clear to all platform managers, and especially when it happened on Periscope, and then the police came in there and told on Tina Lawson and Monica, and Johnny Spot Farm, Troll Farm, and Carlos Ali. I want the criminal indictments because nobody had no business doing this to me. I don't know what your issue is with me, but I didn't do anything to warrant the level of terrorism and abusing. I shouldn't have to sound like Betty Broderick and get my wits in to the point that I'm telling people I'm about that life because I'm sick of y'all. So at this point, I understand how Betty Broderick snapped, and I understand how she ended up, but I refuse to end up like her. But you will be going to jail for trying to manufacture that or manufacture me to respond in that manner. And everybody who's been involved in all of that needs to be fired, arrested, and terminated. Local and non-local, foreign and domestic. So that's it for today. I think it's good to have stopped there and be able to have a level of positivity on this Father's Day for the fathers who are active fathers who nurture their children, love their children, whether money is there or not. It's not about money, it's there, be there for your children. I would encourage any mothers who are fathers still be there for your children. Still love your children. I love being her parent. I just don't like the experience that happened because of all of them and adjacently because all those people know each other. So I want nothing to do with all these people who are planted in my life and created to cause all this trauma and damages. I want them all out of my life, court ordered and officially for my well-being, my sanity, and also for safety purposes, as well as the levels of things have gone way out of control on and offline. So I want my peace back, I want my career back, and I want my life back. If it means removing people and putting people in jail, testifying and moving on, it is what it is. They've cost me more than enough, including my child, and I'm done. And they know exactly what they're doing every time I have to go to court or heading up to court. So that's the reason why I'm addressing all of this. So the next coaching will be strictly the content. So we won't have to talk about this anymore. I just wanted to finish up where we left off, and we can go on from here and get there from here. We'll be doing our daily eye illuminations as well as other such things. So we've got a full plate. I'll come back here every once in a while. I'll do the live shows, but I'll do the actual spaces in the middle offline and do pre-recordings and things like that. So y'all can't bother me and keep this messed up. And I made it clear that y'all like to mess with me, especially when I'm live. And y'all have messed up 290 lives plus 130 of them in my spaces. And you will be getting the receipts in the city and county will be paying it and putting the bill for 2 and 3 years of this and 8 years and 5 years overlap. As since I've been certified as a coach, and you'll understand what it means not to cost me time and money. $500 a pop every presentation will be a lot of money. And I meant what I said. It's not negotiable anymore. They know exactly how far they've cost me, including 8 e-commerce force websites and then 5 eBay stores that they damaged and tore up and did all these different things at the bank. So when I say it's not amicable, it's never going to be amicable. I'm ready to go to court and press the charges and move on so I can live my best life. And then the threats to have me killed or get my affairs in order, I could have a car accident or they could have me killed, murdered, and phoned, all this other kind of stuff they said to me online. These are the reasons why I said I'm done. I don't want anybody that would fearmonger and crazy make or say they have people on payroll who do all kinds of stuff like this. So now you guys know why I had reasonable fear and upset and animosity and hostility. Now, anybody that's going through that as a life coach, do you think that's fair to someone, for your spouse or ex-boyfriends to do that or your family to do that? No. So with that being said, I no longer have a family and I don't care. I want nothing to do with them because they know what they did and they crossed the line. And anybody that betrayed me or was on the side of other people until they realized it was happening to them, then still don't come over here trying to be friendly and talk about we're family. No, you had a good old time at my expense. Stay over there. And the same thing with exes. You didn't want to listen when I told you what was going on, then stay over there on the other side. So that's where we're at. You guys take care. Have a nice day. Always be positive and remain positive and do the best that you can with what you can. I'm having to deal with a dilapidated house, but I'm still being grateful and mindful that there's other people who don't even have a roof over their head. So with that being said, count your blessings, you guys. I'm counting mine every day that I live and every day that I try to work towards doing better, being the better version of myself. So you all take care. I'll see you later.